Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. We are here today with a guest. Another guest.
Very special one.
Fisher
Nat.
It's weird because we're all sitting in a line, so I think that makes it weird.
Yeah, we could face each other a little more.
I'm fine here. But yeah, so you're the guest today.
Hello, I am the guest today.
How many of our episodes have you listened to?
In total, to be honest, I will listen to like a lot of parts of them. I'll like start it, but then like at the beginning of the day, but then at work I'll have to like pause it. So, I mean, I've listened to at least half of like 3 or 4.
That's more than a lot of people.
We love an honest person.
We love the honesty. That's more than a lot of people.
You're probably half of one of our viewers, to be honest. Because we have 4, so.
Nice. Not on Spotify though. I just watch on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Shit.
Yeah.
Full
Then
video.
not even a viewer.
I'm holding it down on your YouTube audience.
Thank you.
You haven't seen ...
Men.
Question mark. Oh.
This week we watched Men. That just came out literally yesterday.
It's a British film though, so it's pronounced Men.
Thank you for correcting me. I don't want to be a non-PC.
How excited were you to see a British film?
I was pretty excited. I didn't know what to expect. I had seen the previews for this once briefly, but like I didn't know that was the one we were seeing. But it was cool. Yeah.
So you had no idea what we were watching at all when we walked into the theater?
When we like walked in, I was like, oh, I remember the previews for this, so I remembered like in general what I had seen. So I was intrigued. It was one of those trailers where I was like, I have no idea what this is gonna be.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Well, while we get into it, like Fisher, we're longtime friends from the University of Alaska. Yeah, I don't know. You want to talk to him a little bit about your relationship with filmmaking and movies?
Your relationship.
My relationship. It's a on again, off again, toxic relationship. Pretty unhealthy, but no. Yeah, I've been into movies for as long as I can remember. Been making random videos since I was little. But these days, my main focus is acting, but my day job is editing. But I just like all aspects of it as well. And yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of like film critiquing, I guess, or like talking extendedly about a film like this, so I'm excited to have this opportunity.
Did you ever have to do that in school?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like Eric said, we went to University of Alaska Fairbanks, and all 3 of us majored in film. So yeah, there were definitely some classes where we had to do some analysis, but I don't know. It was never really like my favorite kind of classes, to be honest. Especially like because I feel like a lot of them were films that I'd like. Yeah, they were really old ones or just ones I wasn't all that interested in seeing and would have to kind of make stuff up about, just kind of get the words out. But this one, I feel like I have more to say about. So.
Okay, that's cool.
You made stuff up.
Not made stuff up, but
So what is like Rosebud at the end of Citizen Kane?
Rosebud? What does it mean? Or
Yeah. What did you say for that?
I don't remember. I don't really remember what that film's about, honestly. Like, we watched it, but I don't know what I said.
And also another question, just for the view. Oh, wait, you go.
I have one too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, another question I think is important is for the viewers to know, like, what are some of your personal favorite movies?
I was gonna ask this.
Oh, dang! So that we know, like, where you're coming from.
Yeah, my personal favorite movies. I like a lot of goofy movies. My not the goofy movie. I mean, that one's good too. I think I saw that when I was little. But I think the Shaun the Sheep movie is my favorite movie. It's an animated one. It's fantastic if you haven't seen it. It's a beautiful story. But I also like I like a lot of Edgar Wright stuff, like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Baby Driver. Oh.
Just gonna keep
good.
doing that.
Didn't we just recently watch one that was like that too? What did we just watch?
Larva?
Larva's a great one as well. But yeah, I like comedies. I like and I like some like human interest dramas and stuff like that too. So.
Human interest dramas. What does that mean?
it's like, in general, just means one that's just about like human stuff that can take place in real life.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you like big into horror movies or
I do
thrillers?
like horror movies. Like, I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm a horror buff, I guess, but I definitely like a good thriller or something like that.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I think that was our questions.
Yeah, I feel like I know so much more about you now.
Now that we know everything we need to know. Okay, these are all over the place, not organized, nothing like that. I really don't have anything about like the filming of it, because there's not much about it. There was like one fact that I thought was interesting, because a lot of the whole film takes place in a very like green area. They had to wait a lot of time. They had to like postpone things to wait for that because they were filming already. But then the director was just like, yeah, we just have to wait until it gets green. So that was an interesting thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was very, very green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is another fact. The director, Alex Garland, who's apparently 51, I don't know why they gave me that info, he has said he's been working on a version of the script for about 15 years. And so a lot of people have been saying that it's like about like the Me Too movement and stuff like that, but he was like, but but he's been working on this for a long ass time. So yeah. And he also was quoted saying it was an old thing, like centuries or millennia old.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's interesting. Yeah, I did. It's not the type of film I would expect from a 51-year-old man, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, but like I haven't seen what's the Annihilation? I haven't watched that one. But all of his films have like a female lead, and he also wrote books, which I didn't even know that he wrote books. Don't know what they are. Didn't do that research, but he did write a lot of books as well as those films. So I think he just has like very he's kind of in tune in that way. So I find that interesting.
Yeah, the director of Ex Machina.
Yeah, he directed Ex Machina and Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
He also created like a TV show he was kind of working on. He's working on his next film now. So
Shout out Alex Garland.
Yeah,
what a man.
He was saying he didn't like to be interviewed because he always says the wrong thing, and also that he was tired and he needed a break. Because like 2 days after they wrapped posts on this film, he had to go and to film the other one that he's working on now. So yeah, it seems a little tired. But yeah, any thoughts on that?
Whoa, that was wild.
Perfect. I'll cut that in.
Is he British?
I think so. I want to say so. He sounded British. Okay, so this is a quote that Rory Kinnear said. I'm just going to read the whole thing. There was a risk that it could become a kind of virtuosic acting experience, but I wanted all these characters to sort of seep out of the countryside. Insert the British.
Well, I like stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are archetypes and tropes, but Alex, that's the director, was very keen, as I was, to make sure that they all were credible and fully rounded individuals. So the first thing I did was to write a biography for each one of them, even the ones that I knew were only going to be on camera for a very short period of time.
That's interesting.
Did a full bio for all of them, yeah.
I think he did a good job of taking on all those characters, especially the deep fake child was kind of scary, but he killed it.
Yeah, he really did. Like, I think that was he did a lot.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, all the actors. This probably had like the smallest cast of a film I've seen in a while, because it was just like the lead girl, him, her friend, and her husband.
And there was also like the cop who was like talking to her at one point.
Oh, the female cop. Yeah.
So there's like 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super small.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
The crew too was tiny.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the crew, like
the credits were small.
The credits were tiny. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any thoughts on that before I get?
I guess all the budget then was probably used for the CGI at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that soon.
Yeah, no spoilers. We'll get into that. Okay, now this is now that's all I have about the behind the scenes. I know. Now I'm just gonna talk about the like quotes about the meaning of the film, because we'll get into that in a minute. But I think that kind of goes into spoilers, so I'll just read like the abstract things. I won't give away spoilers for right now. So when talking, this is already kind of in the trailer, but there's a lot of like biblical and pagan like imagery throughout the film. So he's talking about like how people are gonna interpret the film. And so he says, but I suppose my position is that I can't really prevent that or worry about it too much. I think usually interpretations on films are more telling about the person doing the interpretation rather than the film itself, which is,
Damn.
interesting.
Facts.
So whatever you guys say later, I'm going to be thinking about. Another thing that he also said about like the meaning of the film is that the film is just a space to turn things over in one's head. What is front and center is not what you're thinking about, but what you're feeling.
That's
So
a lot.
Yes.
I'm not sure I understood all of that.
Yeah, I might need to hear that one again.
yeah, a lot of his he has an interesting way of talking. All right, the film is just a space to turn things over in one's head. What is front and center is not what you're thinking about, but what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. No, it's wild. Yeah, a lot of people will say like, like a project is yours for so long. You like develop it, produce it, post it, and everything. But once you release it, it's theirs. It's whoever watches it. It's now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certain films like when you're talking about like a Marvel film or something like that, where you can be like, just say the meaning of it. But there's things like this where it's like,
yeah.
I mean, you need the buzz too, so. Don't say what it means until you're like almost on your deathbed,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while, I think, since I've seen a film like this that was so abstract, like not so just a direct storyline where it's so much more open for interpretation. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. Because even if the director would shoot it and has an intention to make it one way, and it says it's one way, as an audience member, you can disagree. Like it could mean something completely different to you. Like,
Yeah. So that's all the behind the scenes shit I have.
that was clean.
Yeah, it's fucking small. So, what did you guys think of the movie?
Overall, I liked it. I thought it was very interesting. It was very abstract, like I said, but overall, it was definitely it was a good change. Like a lot different than films I've seen for the last while. Like it's been a minute since I've seen such an artsy film, and I really like the pacing of it as well. Like I liked, because I feel like in film school we're like taught so much about like, oh, don't ever show somebody like traveling from a place to a place, just cut to them there. But I liked how, is it like much of a spoiler to say like what the opening shot was like?
Like her driving there?
Yeah,
No,
like
I don't think
yeah, because I liked how like the first like almost 3 minutes of the film it felt like was just like her driving, and I was like, it's kind of nice to like just set the vibe of things, and it felt like a good portion of the film was just people doing somewhat mundane things, and it's not like you're very slowly learning about them. And I thought that was a good change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it too. Yeah, it definitely kept me at the edge of my seat like the whole time, which not a lot of horror movies, thriller movies do, Like very few thriller movies like have that effect that exist comparatively to like the grand scheme of horror.
Kept you on the edge of your seat?
Yeah, I was like freaking out honestly for a lot of it.
I saw Eric over there was just like
Did it not keep you at the edge?
No, I was like, it's interesting. I'm not like scared though. I would say with this film, I really wasn't scared throughout. Whereas like the other one that we watched, I was like, I was anxious the whole film. This one's like, it feels warm, nice.
At some points, this one had me sunken back in my seat, looking away. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Not ready for the ending.
This is like hard to watch though, which is like a good thing for like a thriller, I think.
The whole thing? What are you talking about?
A lot of it, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of it, honestly. Like the whole aspect of it all. Like she was just like, I was just like watching her and just like, damn, like, yeah, just like I don't know, like just she was just like a painful character in person. Where I was just like, dang, yeah, I don't know.
I honestly I thought she did an amazing job, the actress, and I like couldn't stop watching her in a way. I was like, she's like doing everything so interestingly.
Yeah.
She's like, just an interesting person to watch, and did an amazing performance. For sure.
Yeah, like a lot of the scenes, like you were saying, like it's not a lot's actually happening, but just like watching her like in these spaces, it's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, she just felt like very vulnerable. Like things seemed fine, and she was like just very like mundane, but like you just knew like at any point like it was like it could turn into like a roller coaster just at any time. Yeah.
She had a really cool accent as well. I read Noses Tone Kezia. She's Irish. It's like, because I was like, that doesn't sound very British. Like, it's like, unless it's a really specific part. But
yeah, I was wondering about that too. Because then her friend, I think, had like an American accent.
Yeah, that was interesting also.
Yeah, because in the beginning it sounded like she had like a British accent, and then by the end she had an American accent. So I was like,
I wonder for actors in the UK if like they have to do a lot more like accent studying, because I feel like even for British films, like there's so many accents within the country. It's like, I don't know if your character is specifically from Newcastle or whatever. It's like, whereas in the US, most roles get away with just a standard American accent. I feel like. So I wonder how they do that over there.
Yeah.
The cinematography was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
That's about all there is to say about it, I guess.
No, I was just thinking, because there's like some of the like there's quite a few shots that like you feel like you're watching her, which I think is just like a common like horror thing. But there were some of them that was just like they didn't do it so much that you were really thinking about it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more I could say without going into like what the movie is about more.
Well, we could just talk about like generally like the story, you know what I mean? Not like getting into detail about it, but like if you're gonna go watch it.
Yeah, like it was dope. Like I probably personally couldn't watch it again. Like I wouldn't want to. Like I actually, like if it was on, I'd probably like not watch.
So what's different between this and Hereditary for you that you would watch Hereditary again but not this? Is it just the ending?
It was just disturbing. I don't know, because Hereditary is really disturbing too, but like I don't know what it was. Like that one had more of a fantastical aspect to it, where this like had more like realism.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the opposite, honestly. Personally.
I don't know, because I didn't know this was a horror going into it.
Oh,
I knew, I mean, because I had just seen the trailer. I guess I kind of could tell it was a psychological in a way, but the word horror didn't come to mind. So, like, yes. Because I'm wondering, too, how I would feel watching it again, because, like, now knowing everything that happens, it's like there's just so much of a build-up in the film. I wonder if, like, yeah, that would be ruined if I knew the ending now and knew what was to come, because, like, I won't spoil it, but the first part that something horror-ish came in, I was like, that was the last thing I expected to happen. I was shook, so I guess that really affected my experience watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main actor, if y'all have seen Black Mirror, he's the dude that messes around with the pig.
The supporting actor,
that was him?
In the first episode of Black Mirror.
Oh yeah, Rory Kinnear. He fucks a pig on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense with his background thing. When they wrote the script, they were like, we know who we need for this.
Yeah,
we know the
only
man for the
one
job.
actor can do this.
Yeah.
He's super talented, though.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool? Like, there's like the whole world of like, as an actor, as like a producer, you want like a recognizable face on the project, but like in the same vein, you want like like some people like really need a non-recognizable face.
Yeah.
That's like never really been on like anything like before. That's cool.
I feel like they do that a lot in horror movies, though. Like, there's a lot of people you wouldn't recognize in horror movies for the most part.
Yeah, because they don't want them to like identify with different character, like feel like they already know who they are or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like they're sometimes cheaper to make, and then they bring in more money. Maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, I have heard horror is, like, in general, one of the cheapest genres, like, budget-wise, but yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's just, like, a movie where you know, like, something bad is probably going to happen to these characters if you have, like, already formed or some kind of vision of them because you know the actor or actress. Like, I guess maybe that might affect it. Like, it's probably, like, a careful thing to balance of, like, how you want the audience to, like, I mean, I guess not that you want them to feel a certain way, but, like, yeah, how it's going to feel to them when something bad happens to this character, like, how you get a bond with them or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, go check out the film if you haven't seen it, because we're about to get into spoilers.
Big time.
So we're officially into the spoilers right now.
Dun dun.
Spoiler alert. You better get spoiled.
Let us spoil you.
Okay.
This movie fucked me up. There's a lot going on in this movie.
So yeah, for you guys, because the movie's about you, right? How did it feel watching this movie?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was heavy, but like done in such an abstract way that I guess I wasn't like super emotional watching it really, but I was just like, it just had me in thought, being like, what does this all mean, and like figuring it out as it went, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about for you, Eric?
Yeah, it was a harsh reality. Men,
all the same.
Yeah, I don't know, it was just like hard to watch too, even like so a big part of this goes back and forth from like flashbacks, but the flashbacks are like less fantastical. Even those parts were really hard to watch, like them arguing and stuff. I was like, oh
Yeah.
just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the story, like, if you've watched it, you'll know. If you don't want to watch it, you just want the spoilers now. It's basically this woman, Harper. There's a lot of flashbacks that eventually reveal this to us, so we don't know it until, like, the end exactly what happened. But her and her husband, they seem to have, like, a tumultuous relationship, and she wants to divorce him. But he's like, no, if you try to divorce me, I'm going to kill myself. And she's like, don't say that. They have this whole back and forth. It's like a very intense scene.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm going to. And she's like, don't put that on me. And then, like, later we see that she's, like, texting her friend, like, you know, he's scaring me, like, that type of thing. He, like, walks in and he sees that. And then he hits her. And then she, like, pushes him out of the house, or out of her apartment. And then apparently he, like, runs up to the top floor, like, barges in through their apartment, and then jumps off the building. And then she, like, they, like, lock eyes as he's, like, falling. And, and then, like, later she, like, walks out and sees him, like, outside, dead, you know?
Yeah, that was probably the most gruesome well, maybe not the most, but that was the first gruesome image of the film.
Yeah.
Like, they did not hold back on showing how he died. Exactly.
Yeah, it looked fake in my opinion, but I get what they're going for. The twisted leg, I was like, it looks way too long to be his leg, but maybe that was like insinuating other things. I don't know. Then I just also don't get how his hand could have been pierced through like that, because it doesn't make sense, like, when you're falling. But needless to say, maybe he was trying to grab it, but the way his hand was up like that, it didn't look like it was down. Like if you were trying to grab I don't know if I should describe it to you how it looked, but
yeah, I mean, I guess in a way it could,
like, you
like,
don't think
if he was like this, but it looked like his hand was like that on top of it.
Yeah, you don't think like, oh my god.
I don't think so. I think it would have almost like slipped off, because he was like trying to grab it. He could have been like this, and then like the force of that like would have made sense. But otherwise, I don't get how this going through would make sense, because I feel like your arms are kind of almost more weightless.
Oh, so you think it would have been like,
or like slid,
scratched off.
Yeah, needless to say, like, punctured his arm and like cut his hand in half.
I just realized that's the same injuries as the men at the.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at first.
Yeah, that's crazy. But so that's like basically where she's coming from, and she ends up going to this after she, like, you know, her husband died. She rents this cottage 4 hours away from her place.
Massive.
Yeah, huge. She goes there. She meets like the Airbnb owner, host, whatever. Super weird guy, you know, seems, I don't know.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Almost too normal. So it was like weird.
Too normal.
He was just like just weirdly normal.
A nice guy.
He's a nice guy. That's a good one. He's a nice guy.
Not a regular nice guy,
No.
but, you know, a nice guy.
An actual nice guy. So basically, the Airbnb host, I have to cut out all of that. He like gives her this tour. It's weird. He talks about her period and her having to use tampons and stuff like that. And she's just like, okay. They also have these weird moments where he's just like staring at her and not saying anything, and it's very awkward. So eventually he leaves. You know, she does all of her exploring. A naked man pops up, following her around. She calls the cops. They get him. It's a whole thing with all these men in the town. Go watch it or look at the Wikipedia page. Can't describe all this. Where are we going with it that I needed to explain this?
But this man, the supporting actor, is all the same man.
Yeah, Rorik.
He plays, all the men that are like kind of like antagonizing her, which is like provides like such a weird it's just weird.
Yeah, and it's weird too that like she doesn't notice that at all. Like she sees them as like unique people, and it's like it's almost like this is like a non-real world. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of male characters that were at the country house. There was the host person, the naked person, and that was like intertwined with the nature person, right?
It was the same guy.
Same dude. The priest, the child,
the bartender, the
cop,
several other people
the
at the
bar
bar.
goers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only person in the town that wasn't played by this one man was like the police officer woman who questioned her.
Mm-hmm.
Only person not played by him.
Yeah. I wonder what she could symbolize, if anything.
Yeah.
Being the
It
one
was
character.
weird that she was like the only character there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. What do you think each of the characters symbolize?
Should we get into that?
Are you already getting this? Do we have any other spoilers though before then? They would like lay out stuff for the theories.
I guess we can describe what happens at the end.
Well, that's probably why I was trying to tell you the whole story of it. Eventually, we'll cut back to that. I'll edit this so it works out. After all this scary stuff with the naked man happens, she's being haunted by this guy. Eventually, he comes back. Something weird happens. It all happens in her house. Like, the men are showing up, disappearing. She ends up cutting the one guy's hand. It's kind of gruesome, whatever. After that, and we think we're good, the green naked man shows up again, and he just breaks. he becomes pregnant, and we see his vagina open, and he births basically another version of himself, and every time and when he does that, he dies, and then the new version of himself lives, gets pregnant super quickly, sprouts a vagina somewhere else on his body that there wouldn't be a vagina. And then, like, it keeps going and going and going. And it's like, the one guy dies, new guy lives, he dies, so on and so forth. Eventually, though, her husband that, died, he's the last one to come out of this creature. And he comes out through the mouth, which was really weird and was honestly the most disturbing way to come out of all of them. Because his feet were first and it made no sense. But he came out. Yeah. So that's basically the whole film.
Yep.
That's the ending we have to describe.
Yeah, and then it ends with like they sit on the couch, and then she's like, "What do you want from me?" He's like,
Your
"Your love, yeah."
And she's like, eh.
And she's
Oh,
like,
that's
"Mhm."
funny.
And then it ends.
Really funny. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and then, what?
Then the friend comes back.
Yeah, the friend
Oh,
comes back. The
yeah,
friend
yeah.
comes back, sees like the blood and like all the remains of the night before, and then she sees her friend, or she sees Harper sitting on the stairs, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yay, thank God."
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah. And how did you guys feel about the ending? Like when the friend shows up and like you see the remains of everything that happened the night before. Like, is that what does that mean to you guys?
Yeah, that was kind of...
Like that it all happened? I guess what I'm asking is like, do you think that it all happened or that was like in her head? Or like ghosts or something like that?
I still think it's still like symbolism for like her relationship with the husband. And I don't think it like in reality happened to her.
Yeah, maybe it like symbolizes like after an abusive relationship, like other people, like their friends and stuff, can see like the damage that happened, but like it might look different to them than to how it felt for the victim of that, I guess. Like, yeah, not to say that it's like victims of that are imagining things, but just like that it feels like when you're actually experiencing it, the emotions of it, like, yeah, it feels a lot different than what other people might see on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is actually one thing the director did have something to say about like the meaning of the film. He said that he felt like it would be like wrong for them to act like this didn't happen and that she was making it up in her head. Mm-hmm. So he was like, yeah, this all actually happened, and yeah.
Yeah.
So everything that was there actually happened. It wasn't in her head.
Yeah, which cause to her like it did, you know.
No, but it actually happened. It wasn't like in her head. This is stuff that happened, because he's saying that like it would be the same thing. It'd be hypocritical of him to be like, yeah, this didn't happen. It was just in her head, because that's what every single man in the town and her like husband was doing to her, was like gaslighting her and telling her that none of this happened when it did. So that's why like cool. It did happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that. It did.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that he had to say about it, which I thought was interesting.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that you guys know about the film, let's get into the theories, because I think this is like a really fun film to talk about, like what we think the like meanings of everything is, because there's like a lot of different symbols throughout, like the dandelions. They have that, like one of the first images we saw, like the like pulpit thing with like the pagan imagery on it. There's like a lot of different things that's brought up throughout. But yeah, so I'm interested to hear you guys' theories. I was thinking we'd go one by one. Eric.
Oh, just like theories wise?
Like, what do you think the meaning of it is?
Of just the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can break it down.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like, it's dealing with all, I don't know, like dealing with the grief of like the ending of a relationship, and it's like how different versions of someone who is like, who could be like considered like, you know, toxic, will like come out to try to win that love back, you know, like they, every angle they can take. So that's like what the rebirthing meant to me.
Yeah, I thought obviously it's about abusive relationships like overall, and I wrote out what I think, because I have an idea for the meaning of each version of the man.
Nice. I'm excited to hear that.
I think they each like they represent the various ways that like abusers can present themselves, both like in the relationship and to like other people. But I think like the naked man represents how sometimes they can just be straight up terrifying, and it's like, and it's very obvious that like, yeah, they're a bad person. But then the Jeffrey guy represents how they can sometimes make themselves appear more charming and funny or goofy, or just, oh, he's just quirky and misunderstood or something like that. And then
can I just say, he was the creepiest one to me. Like, get that fucker out. He creeped me out the most.
I didn't see him as too creepy, but I guess I can see how he is.
Because he had the most interaction with her.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like, yeah.
You didn't think like the staring moments were weird?
No, he was.
That was creepy. No, so fucking creepy.
To me, that's why he felt like one of the most creepiest.
Okay,
because he was like in her space, like in the house and everything. Like,
true.
Don't flush your toiletries down the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, and then the young boy represents how they can like play the victim and make themselves seem like innocent and helpless or whatever. And then the policeman represents how they can like try to act like they're a protector of sorts, or like give the victim like a false sense of security, or like make them dependent on them in a way. And then the priest, that one I had a harder time figuring out specifically. I guess he's more just like the gaslighty, manipulative side, and at the end just the straight up like sexual predator side. Like, there's that whole scene. And yeah, I just thought each man represents the different ways that an abusive person will present themselves, and the different ways they'll act like throughout a relationship like that. And then the birth at the end, I feel like that could have been like one of two things. Like, it could represent the cycle of abuse of like a man, like, you know, his son or whatever taking on those same tendencies and it repeating itself, and like, and also the fact that they all had the same like cut on their hand and broken ankle could represent like generational trauma, like that being passed down from people. Or it could represent how abusers will like say that they're gonna change and like convince the victim they're changing, but then they might look like they do for a second, but they don't really.
Yeah, it's just like all different versions of the same person. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the bulk of my theory.
Nice. I honestly didn't really think about it that way, honestly.
What did you think about?
Well, I feel like it's good because I was hoping we'd all have like different like angles of it, because I feel like you guys are both talking about like abuse and stuff, which to me like it was that way, but it just seemed more like a general thing, because I was just like, I don't know, I was just thinking about like men in general, and like but that this is obviously like more specific, and I think like really tied it into like where she is coming from, if that makes sense. But I was thinking more in a general sense. I have a fucking, let me pull this up. So this ties in more to, my theory ties in more to like the religious kind of like side of it, which is like really the obvious way. Okay, but let's present this really quick. Okay, so we're gonna start kind of 2/3 of the way through the movie. So when she walks into the church, I'll just present this to you. She walks into the church, and inside is like the pulpit. I think that's what it is. Or is it the altar? I don't know which it is. Pulpit. And it's basically a big stone, and like on either side is like, one side has like the green man, and like on the other side has the what is it called? The Sheila Nagig. And like they're both like pagan images. So like, why the fuck is that in a church? You know what I mean? Like they don't go together in that way, because like the church is like actively like repelling things that like paganism is and stuff like that, even though they share a lot of the same things. Needless to say, so think about that. Then what I'm thinking is, how does this tie into like this kind of like symbolistic side of it? Because like the green man, or like the naked man, he eventually turns himself into the green man, and also then he also like kind of turns into like the woman on the other side of it, because he gives birth many times. And okay, so then like Harper, I feel like, is the church, because she like, there's a lot of like choir music or something kind of like that throughout the film, but like when she goes into the tunnel, she's like singing that, and it kind of ends up sounding like a, you know, choir. And then another thing that's kind of like church like is at the very beginning of the film, like she goes and eats an apple from the tree, which is like Eve, like that's fucking obvious. And then we also see the naked man walk up, which is like in the Bible, like more religious shit. Like Adam and Eve were both naked until Eve bit the apple, and then they both like noticed that they were naked and they couldn't be naked anymore. So that's why I feel like the whole like her walking into the church with like the pulpit is like kind of about like not to say that like she's like sacred or anything like that, but like they're the same coin, but just like different sides of it. And like how like one side is like has power over the other in a way. Also back to like the Eve thing, and this is just more about like men, is like when Eve bit the apple, the whole like story is that like she was the one that messed up, but Adam like also ate from it, and they were both told that like they shouldn't eat the apple, so he did not have to eat the apple. But then when like he goes to God and he's like telling him like, yeah, well, she bit the apple, and then God's like, well, did you eat it too? And then he's like, but like all the blame goes on her, and that's like what happens throughout the film. It's like all these like men like blaming her for like all of these things that like she didn't do. She was obviously there, but like, you know, she didn't do. Then another thing is like the dandelion, because I was like, I don't really know like what this means, but it's like always like around her, if that makes sense. And like the green man sprays it at her at one point, and then I was like, what does this mean? So there's a couple ways. Like, you know, the one way is like gross, the other way is like I feel like these like thoughts and things like that like is this how like men always are, or is this just something that's like been like taught forever, and like these thoughts and stuff like could grow like weeds, which is what like dandelions are. So yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I hadn't thought much about the dandelion after the movie, but yeah, I like that. Maybe it could also be like when somebody goes through the trauma of that, it like branches out to everyone around them in a way, like it's so visible that it, just like how a dandelion flies all over the place.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't really understand the point when like he blows it at her and then she like ingests it, and then like after that it's like she's kind of seems calmer, you know.
Interesting.
True.
Forgot she did ingest one.
Yeah. Because there's like another shot where she's like running from like the guy in the tunnel, and there's like just a dandelion seed that we're focused on forever until she like runs up to it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I've never read the Bible, so I don't know any of that stuff. But
Yeah, I feel it's just like kind of like, I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's like general. I feel like a lot of people know about it, but maybe not. Maybe I've just like read it. Read it a few times.
Yeah, I know like the stories, but I've never read it. But yeah.
Do you have more in-depth theories, Eric?
No, I mean, just you bring up the dandelion stuff. It's like, yeah, it's like, it's a lot there too, because there's a lot of like shots that are like so focused on it. And like, yeah.
Yeah. So what else could it be? Because I didn't notice that before of how she becomes calmer after ingesting the wine.
She just seemed calmer to me, but maybe she wasn't.
True. Yeah. Or like, yeah, because that whole ending fiasco, she's like just kind of watching it happen and not really like doing a whole lot to react to it. It feels like, which is pretty shocking.
I think she's just too stunned, you know.
Like the phone was glitching out. Like all the phone bits.
Oh yeah. I wonder if that like symbolized like how an abuser will like try to cut them off from their friends and like their support system and stuff. Like she's trying to talk to her friend, but flashes of the guy are showing up.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so like in the movie, like she's trying to FaceTime her friend, but then like the FaceTime will like glitch out and like it'll be like flashing of like this scary ass dude like screaming on the screen, and it would just cut out. But then there's a part where it's like he actually fully hacked the phone, and like the profile picture was the dude or like scary screaming.
No, it was her.
Was it her?
It was her. It was just like a weird Halloween photo of her.
Yeah, that was
But
scary.
then he like but then he like messages like, I already know where you are, bitch.
Yeah, all caps. Like that shit was scary to me. That to me was like so scary. It's one of the scary parts.
Really?
Yeah, were you not scared?
No, I was like, why do they always do this? Like, they're every single horror movie, like, they can't get a fucking phone call. She's just like, oh, I guess I'll move closer to the window. Let me move really fucking close to the window where this guy could be out there.
Yeah.
What's the scariest moments of this film to you guys? The phone?
Honestly, I don't know. That part honestly fucked me up. It wasn't like oh shit, like I was on edge, but I was like, oh shit, like that part just like fucked me up for some reason. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I was pretty shook the first time we saw The Naked Man, like especially since I didn't know that this was a horror movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, the last thing I expected was just this dude there, and like how she reacted, like not as extremely as I would expect someone to react in that situation. Like she was just kind of like, that's strange, and then then kept walking. That had me shook a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there's just a lot of like build up scenes where I'm just like, you gotta. Like it just felt like there's no safe space. Like even in that big ass house, I was like, man, like you could lock the door, but really, like I feel like anyone could get in from anywhere over there. But when she was outside all the time and going into that tunnel, I was like, man, I am scared for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting, guys. I was honestly like, I felt that whole part of the film, I was like, this is pretty calming. She's just walking through nature and all that, and like, yeah, that's when they chose to introduce the jarring parts, made it all that more effective, I guess.
Yeah.
The score in this, the music was insane.
Yeah,
absolutely terrifying. What was your scariest part?
I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. I just kind of hated when the naked man kept putting his hand through the door. Like, that was my...
Yeah, the initial attack of the naked man.
Yeah.
That was pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
And it, like, the cops later were just like, oh, we released him. He didn't really do much. Like,
there's so many times cops do that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, well, we don't know that he saw you. We know that you saw him, but we don't know that he was at her house. He definitely saw her.
Yeah.
What did you think about at the end, like, after the nice guy, like, comes back, steals her car from her, and she's, like, outside looking at, like, the sky full of stars, and, like, a whole galaxy's there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was, like, not real. What did you guys think about that? Because I feel like that doesn't look like a sky you can just see, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like a full galaxy. Like,
yeah.
I'm forgetting that part from kind of, like...
It's basically, like, after we think that all the guys are dead, she gets in her car, she's driving off, and then nice guy, like, shows up, and she runs him over.
Oh, yeah.
She hits him, and then he comes back, opens the door, and, like, steals a car from her.
Yeah, it's really subtle, because then, like, then she goes back in the sky. You see the tree, but then the sky is, like, galaxy. Like, it's like, what the... Yeah.
Yeah, I was almost maybe gonna say, like, if it's when somebody gets out of an abusive relationship and they, like, see, like, the world again in a way, being like, oh my gosh, that just happened, and I'm like, but she wasn't really free from it yet at that point.
Yeah, because they hadn't done all their rebirthing.
Yeah. Maybe it's like that's just the point where she, like, I guess where, like, if when the person realizes that's what they're going through and they're like, yeah, on the first steps to getting away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever seen anything like that movie before? Like, is there another film you would compare it to?
I think it's, well, to me, it has, like, all the symbolism and stuff of, like, a lot of A24's, like, other horror films. Like, it does remind me of, like, Hereditary and, like, Midsommar and stuff. Like, it just has a similar vibe to that. Like, Ex Machina seemed, like, a lot different to me than this, but I haven't seen it in a while, so maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I can see the similarities to, like, Hereditary. I couldn't watch Midsommar. That, like, scared me too much. Like, I had to, like, stop.
Oh, really?
Like, cults, like, terrify me.
Damn.
It's like,
I need to rewatch it again because I remember watching it after Hereditary and be like, this isn't that scary at all. But now I need to, like, watch it again and be like, oh shit, yeah, maybe it's, like, so low key terrifying.
I don't know, because cults, like, that actually happens. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if this is an off question, but I know this is tying back to Jack Harlow. If you could have a child, like birth one, on your own, would you?
What?
wait,
No, hell no. We were just talking about this yesterday.
wait, like, we give birth?
Yeah.
Like,
If it were medically
for fun?
possible for men to give birth, would you?
I mean,
I have a kid right now?
No, but would you ever be like, yeah, I want to do that. I really want a kid. I'll give birth to my own kids.
the way it would work is, like, if it's a man and woman, they can choose who's gonna
Yeah.
do the birth giving.
Yeah, the birth.
And how would it work though? Like,
You know, it can be possible.
for a man to,
Don't think about the logistics.
I mean, I in general don't think I ever want to have kids anyway. So, regardless of where they're coming out, I don't want them.
Say you're, like, madly in love with someone, they don't want to have a kid, but you want to have your guys' kid, would you?
No. If they're not gonna, if they don't want to and they're not gonna, like, be there for the kid, I'm not just gonna be like, well, we're doing this.
I'll give birth to a full adult. Would you, Eric?
No.
You want kids with somebody they don't want, like, they don't want to give birth themselves, but they want kids. Would you do it?
I mean, yeah, you have to, I guess.
Adopt, don't shop.
Yeah, but, like, nah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
No.
feel like if you yourself were not actually willing to have a kid, like, why would you expect, like, your partner, if it's, like, a woman, to have that kid? You know what I mean?
Mm. But the thing is, yeah, it's like, I would if she wanted to have kids and didn't want to birth it. It's like, well, someone got to do it.
What do you just said no, though.
But, like, I wouldn't want to in general. But it's like, if it's to the point where someone has to do it.
Yeah. But Jack Harlow said he would, so that's why I brought him in.
Oh,
Jack
he
Harlow
would do
said
that?
he would
Yeah.
Birth his own-
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, now you're saying it, but you were before. I see how it is.
No, I mean, I understand him saying yeah. I mean, yeah.
Whatever Jack does here.
I mean, yeah, like, you know, it's like Jack's still.
Yo, someone has to.
No, he said he would willingly. He would rather do it.
He would rather
You
do
would
it.
volunteer.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
yeah.
That's wild.
All right. Any other thoughts about this movie? Spoilers? Anything like that? Dandelions.
I don't think so.
Time to get into movie quotes, guys.
It's gonna be short.
Yeah. How many quotes do each of you have? Oh, this isn't even my notes.
I have 3.
3?
Wow.
Oh, damn. I only have 1.
And a half.
Nice.
Okay. I feel like, okay, let me explain this scene. Let me set it up. So, basically, Harper has just went into the church. She's come out of the church, and she sees, like, this little boy sitting on the steps, and he wants to play hide and seek with her, and she's like, I don't really want to. And anyways, the pastor ends up coming out and is like, go away, Tommy, or whatever the little boy's name is. And then The little boy tells the pastor, "Why don't you fuck off?" And then the pastor says, "You first." And then the little boy leaves, and then he looks at her, and he's like, "You stupid bitch." And yeah, just for that line. The way I said it wasn't as funny as it is, though.
It was really funny.
It was pretty.
Your interpretation was funny, too.
What are your guys'?
I had near the beginning when he's showing her around the house, he just says, "We're going up the wibbly wobbly way."
That's my first one.
I was going to say that, too. You guys wrote that one. The wibbly wobbly way.
The wibbly wobbly way.
We're up the wibbly wobbly
That was a
way.
good one. That was like, yeah, my main one. And then I also wrote the part where like he was talking to her about what her husband did, and he was like, "You must feel an awful sense of guilt." I feel like that just summarized the whole movie a lot. Like,
Yeah.
how he put that on her. And then I guess similar to the lead to that, these aren't as like funny like quotes. It was just like, perhaps if you had given him a chance to apologize, he would still be alive today. That also just
Like, what the fuck?
That shit was wild.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Men do hit women. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah. He was like,
Yeah,
"It's
oh,
not
oh, yeah,
nice,
yeah, I was
but
like-
it's not a capital offense or
Yeah,
something." he
it's
said.
not a capital offense. And she's like, "What the fuck?"
That shit was wild. Just absolutely like, what the fuck? My quotes are with the priest, too.
Mhm.
Well, I have one other than the up the wibbly wobbly way. It was in the scene where the priest was with her in the house at the end.
Mhm.
And like uncomfortable, and I didn't understand what was going on. And it wasn't until she said this thing I was like, wait, was he? He's talking about her, and then he's like gesturing to her, and he says, "This slit, this cave," and I'm like, and then I was like, oh shit. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then and then I kind of understood that scene a little bit more.
Oh, so you weren't understanding it as it was? Was it just like his
No, it didn't
accent
really,
was too thick, or you just?
Yeah, I was just like, what is happening right now? Yeah.
After when he was washing his hands, I was like, "Yeah, this fucker."
There's just so much symbolism. Even the washing of the hands, just it's still too much. It's a lot.
That hand looks so familiar to me, and I don't know if
I
it's
hate the way
if it's like
That's disgusting.
It's a Spock's hand, but I don't know if it's because in like Lilo and Stitch, there is this one character who's going around getting eaten by mosquitoes the whole time, and his hands are like that. His name is Pleakley.
Oh yeah, Pleakley. And Jumba.
Yeah, he literally does have 3 hands. So the whole time I was just thinking, Pleakley. All right, so let's go into the movie rating. Where are we all at with the movie rating for this?
Out of 10.
Yeah, 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Let's see if Eric and I get the same rating again, because
For
we
sure.
do the same thing every time.
Let me think about it a little bit more.
Fuck. I'm trying to get on your wavelength, but I'm not. I'm just gonna go with what I'm gonna say.
All right.
Fisher, as the guest, what would you rate it?
I would give it a good old 8 out of 10.
I would also give it an 8.
I would too.
Nice.
Oh!
We're on the same wavelength.
Damn.
Reasons.
Yeah.
What you mean by that?
Why would you give it an 8 out of 10?
And why not a 10 out of 10?
Why not a 10 out of 10? I mean, I guess 8 out of 10 just because overall I definitely liked it. It was good. I guess the only thing that would have made it a 10 out of 10 is maybe it's not the film's fault, like this is just what it was trying to do, but it was just like so much, like it definitely couldn't be a film that like I go back to a lot. Like,
Yeah.
it's like it definitely did its job, and maybe that's all. Maybe that should give it a 10 out of 10 if it does its job and you can't expect anything more from it. But I don't know. Personally, a 10 out of 10 film would have to be, Shaun the Sheep, where I'm watching it. Like, I can watch it all day, every day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Only movie ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would give it an 8, kind of for a similar reason, but also I felt like some of the symbolism and stuff was kind of heavy with, like, the whole church and, like, paganism and, like, that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I was struggling between like an 8, 8.5, 9 range. But yeah, it just like gets kind of into like subjective personal preference again. Like I don't think the film faltered at all. Like
No, yeah.
it literally like hit the mark, because you're not supposed to leave a movie like that and be like, shoot, I'm ready to take on the world. That shit.
Let's
hit.
watch it again.
Like, I can't wait to watch that again. No, I felt fucked up afterward. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's just me. Like, but it did its job. So like, reality, like it did what it had to do.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be a comfortable film or comfortable messages to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
This is really off topic, but do you guys know the Fairly Odd Parent trend they have going on TikTok? Where it's like you see green and pink things together. Her dress
I
is
think
pink
so.
and the guy is green.
That's funny.
Anyways.
Yeah, but like if I was rating this on like a site, like if they posted a site, whatever, it would be a 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
You know, but
Yeah.
personally, it's like 8 out of 10.
I think, leaving like the personal
Mm-hmm.
rating is a big factor for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and then into our last section, which is movie news. What movie news?
Juicy. I got a little something.
Oh.
So right now, actually, the Cairns Film Festival is going on right now, Cairns 2022,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes on for quite a bit of time. I didn't realize, I forgot how long these festivals be, but it's like every day is like a new thing. Yesterday was apparently like Tom Cruise's time to shine. It was his first time back in 30 years.
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise.
What do you mean 30 years?
He was in Cairns 30 years ago for
Top Gun?
he was there for the first Top Gun in 1986, but his most recent time in Cairns was for Far and Away, 1992. But now he's back for Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, because you mean 30 years and he hasn't not been to Cannes since then.
Mhm.
Okay, I thought you were saying he like retired. I'm like, no, what?
Oh yeah.
I'm so confused.
He hasn't been to Cairns in 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah, he had a huge celebration. He came in, and then there was like fighter jets like spewing red, white, and blue smoke like that passed over, and then he like walked in, and normally everyone walks in at the same time. He walked in first, said his speech at the beginning of the whole day. They gave him an honorary Palme d'Or. For Top Gun Maverick, and at the end they had like he brought fireworks and everything.
He brought fireworks?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was wild. And so he had like a huge like appearance, and and then before like Top Gun's like screening, they screened like a 13-minute long like reel highlighting like Cruise's like career.
What?
Yeah, it was wild. And then like in honor of him, and then they gave him the Palme d'Or, and it was like standing ovation after the reel played, like just roaring with applause for him. And I didn't know like Tom Cruise is 59. That man is old.
Yeah.
I knew he was at least 50. I didn't realize 59. That's wild.
Yeah, and then like I'm just like it's crazy to me to think that he has so much star power. Like, I mean, he's a household name, but I just like I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that he's in, and I'm just like, it's just crazy to me. But it's like, yeah, like it's wild. But and they talked about how like the release date for Top Gun Maverick has been pushed back so much, and like when they asked him like why didn't you like release on streaming, he responded with like, that was not going to happen ever. That was never going to happen. And I mean, for those of you who don't know about Tom Cruise, like just from the little bit I researched about him, like he's just like a huge cinephile, like a huge like fan of movies in general. And I think that's like a big thing with him alongside his acting career and stuntman career.
Yeah, he does sound really passionate about movies for sure. He talked about
Yeah.
watching like a movie every night. Like how many more movies do you have left, dude? Like I feel like you've watched all the movies now.
No, seriously, which is pretty cool. But yeah, he did go viral like a year ago for blowing up on set about people not wearing the mask on set or whatever. And it's funny because it was probably this movie, Top Gun Maverick.
Really?
No,
I think so. Yeah.
That's really cool. Wow.
I don't ever want to say it again.
Yeah.
I thought that was Matt Damon.
No.
Oh well.
Yeah.
There's one of Matt Damon though too.
Really.
Yep.
But yeah, that has happened on May 19th.
Tourist season. So yesterday.
Yeah.
We're
Congrats, Tom.
officially out of tourist season, guys. I'm happy to announce. Thank God. You know, it was hard, rough. Also, Harry Styles just dropped his album today, so he knows what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Astrology. Couldn't wait. I mean, couldn't do it in tourist season.
Got it.
Mine's really goofy. I looked up movie news and I found this really stupid article. It says John Krasinski finally breaks silence after Doctor Strange 2 cameo, as if it's like such a dramatic thing. Because we've all like been on the edge of our seats thinking like, why has he stayed silent about this? Like
He's like, I had to fully stretch my body. Okay, it's taken me forever to get back in shape.
But then I scroll down and they reference the tweet that's supposedly him breaking his silence, and he just is like, all right, I just wrapped on another movie. Now I need to go watch a movie. Anything I need to see? And they say that's him referencing Doctor Strange too. It's such a stretch. A stretch, like he has. Like the article, they're like, he asks followers if there's anything out he should see, and a wink is heavily implied. It's like such a making a story out
He
of
didn't
nothing.
even wink in it, but they're
No.
saying that he's implying a wink? What? How do you, like, what?
That's so funny.
Yeah, I just thought that was a pretty
That was
dumb
really
article.
funny. They're really stretching with that one for sure. My movie news isn't I've known about this for a little bit, but they're making a new. Or did I already say this? No, I didn't say it on the last one. But they're making a. They put out the trailer for Mrs. Eris Goes to Paris,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know if you guys have ever watched that original movie. It was originally a book, but the original movie is so cute, and me and my mom and sister would watch it all the time growing up, and I feel like this one looks similar, so I'm really excited to see it.
Nice.
Because it's just cute. It's about an older lady who's a cleaning lady, and she has always wanted a really nice dress. And so she gets a ticket to go to Paris, goes there, tries to get the dress. People are like, "You're a stupid cleaning lady." And then she ends up defying all odds to get this Dior dress. And I think it's just so cute. Well, that's probably the end again.
I guess so.
Just in time.
This happened last time with Max.
Yeah.
I think it's because we're at 1:30, so maybe it taps out around then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyways, now that we're in the dark,
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching and
Yeah.
listening.
yeah, thank you for watching.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being
Yeah.
here.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was super exciting to have you here. I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah.
Any suggestions for next episode's movie?
Oof. I don't know. I don't know what's coming out soon, but one day you guys should watch Gummo. That's the really weird one that what that one is?
No, I think I've heard you talk about it though.
Yeah, it's the really weird indie one. I have it on DVD. You guys
Oh,
can watch it.
shit.
I don't think it's online anywhere, but I have the DVD. So
Oh my god. But
Why is it not online though?
the world can't handle it. It
banned
might
from
be
the
somewhere.
internet.
Okay.
Well,
I like it.
yeah. Awesome. Thanks again. Catch y'all next time.
Fisher did a peace
Yeah, I
out
don't know
sign,
why
but
I waved for you guys. Yes.
all right.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.